Hello there, welcome. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a red versus blue map. To start, we're going to create a new island, and we're probably going to pick the XL grid island. You can pick any of the flatter islands. It's better to not have any obstacles getting in your way, and you can rename the island to whatever you want. Hit confirm and wait for it to load up. Once the island has been created, you can enter. Once you head inside, you'll have this huge island to work with. Head down to the white square on the ground if you pick the XL grid island. Most of the grid islands do have a centerpiece. You can mark this with a player built structure if you want. If you plan on having anything below the actual arena, build the arena up a few tiles, but if you don't, that doesn't matter. So mark the center, and then we're going to start to build the actual arena itself. But first we need to mark down the dimensions. So for this example, since there's going to be two teams, we're going to go out, let's say maybe around to here. So that's the center, and this is going to be the edge of the map. And then we're going to copy this. This is just an example, you don't have to make it this big. And then you press, you multi-select this. On PC the keybind is R. On console I'm not quite sure. And then we are going to copy that, and we're going to bring it right here and then place it on top of the previous one, on top of the center. And now we have an equally distance from the center. This is 24 and this is also 24. So this is 23. I made an error. That's why I always check on the side. But now we have the center right here, and we have the two team bases equally apart from the center. Next we're going to build the width. So grab your wood pieces and let's dimension it out. So for this I'm just going to do 5. We're going to actually do a little longer. So this is 7, I think. You can copy that. Don't copy the center tile, because I made that mistake. And you can double check. This is 7 and this is 7, as you can see on the left side of my screen. So now we have the width and the depth of the arena. All the dimensions are done except for the height, but for the most part you want the height to just go all the way up to max height. So that does not matter right now. Next we're actually going to decide what builds we're going to actually use for the red versus blue map. Now it is time to decide a palette. Here I have a few of the popular options for a red versus blue map. So right here is the obstacle course gallery. So the obstacle course gallery red and the obstacle course gallery blue are both right here. I recommend grabbing, I think it's this wall right here, that has the double-sided. Yep, and don't use the side with the bottom piece on the inside. Use this side with nothing on the inside so it doesn't clutter up the player's view. Next up is the cube gallery. You use the large gallery, the larger version. I use this and this, these two cubes right here, and right now the lighting isn't showing it properly. You can try to get a better red if you want. And the third is the military gallery. These come in different colors, such as blue and red, yellow, and green. There's also these cool military doors that you can use in your maps. They cost 1,000 memory, and they have the animation and everything. It's really cool. I just want to remind you that these 3 are not your only options. You can use any gallery you want. These are just what is popular. For this build, I'm going to be using the obstacle course gallery because it is the most popular. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of it, it is what is most popular, and I'm going to be showcasing with it. So I'm going to grab a few pieces. I'm grabbing the second one that's listed because there's two of each type listed right next to each other, because these are the double-sided pieces. If I go under here, that one's also blue on both sides, and that is what we want. Now we're going to build the arena itself. So on one side it's going to be red, on the other side it's going to be blue. I'm going to make this side red and this side blue. In the center, we're going to do that later. But let's begin by placing a row of red pieces. Floor pieces. And then holding down R on PC, I'll have a couple of keybinds, probably either in the description or on screen right now. And you can multi-select every single one of these and select them and just copy them all the way to the edge of your arena. Alright, now that we have that, we're going to do the same thing for the blue side, placing a row of blue pieces and multi-selecting. Alright, now we have basic red versus blue floor. For the center, we can use the obstacle course black gallery, or you can mix and match too, like just by like putting them every other, or you could make it look more natural. For this, I'm just gonna mix match them, just to show you. And then for the very center tile, which I think is this one, yes, you can add a marker, or you don't have to if you don't want to. But there we go. We have made a red versus blue arena, at least the floor of it. Now we're going to work on the walls. So starting one block away from the center, we're going to do these first. And we don't want them on this side, actually. We want them on the other side with no clutter on them. We're going to place a row of walling. There are multiple options you can do for walls. This is not the only one you actually have to do. The other options include a barrier, which I will showcase after I build this wall, or you can go for a little bit of a different color or just more of like an aesthetically pleasing wall, because this can get a little repetitive, especially if you're building this all the way up to max height, which I don't necessarily recommend you do for a wall. You can just build it up, but I'd say maybe a couple higher than this would be enough. This is probably high enough for your wall, and I see I messed up. No worries, we can fix that later. And now we have a wall on this side. We're just going to repeat the process. Seems like we made an error again. That's no big deal. We have the walls done for one side. Now we have to do it for the other side. And I'm not going to bore you through this process. I'll just come back whenever I have it all done. Make sure that they're yet again not on the side with the bottom part, just with the plain side if you're doing these. And then I'm going to explain how to do it with barriers if you decide to do that instead. Now, if you instead want to do a barrier as your wall, go to your devices tab and grab the barrier device. Place it down and set the settings as I do. So the barrier style is up to you. So invisible will just be completely invisible, while pure black, stone, if you go here we have red and blue force field, which are somewhat transparent, so you will have to put stuff behind there. I'm gonna be doing invisible for this, so if you're like more talented map creator and you want to add more detail to your maps, you can set this to invisible and put some decoration in the background. Barrier width is going to be 100. As long as you have the arrow pointing out or in, it should make the width be 100. Depth will be 1, height will be 100, and that is all you have to set for the barrier. Now you have a barrier going for this side, and then all you have to do is copy it. Bug right now in creative at the time of me making it, where barriers are very buggy when you're trying to place them. So what I recommend you do is set the height down to 0.5, and then you should be able to place these wherever you want them, because there's a bug where the barriers will not place if the height goes outside of the map border, and then after you do everything you can put the height back to 100. If you are making barriers, you're also going to need a roof. You can either place this roof relatively low or at max height. All you're going to want to do for this is instead we're going to place a new barrier device, set the heights to 0.5, set the width and depth to 100, and you can also set this to invisible, or you can set this to translucent, only visible when you're near, which will mean like when you get close, it'll become visible. And then bring it up to where you want max height to be, and then just place it. For this build, I'm not going to be doing the barriers. I just did that so I could show you guys what to do. I'm actually going to be closing off the space, and to do this, we're going to copy some of the floor. Make sure it's like in a square or rectangle so that's easy to copy. So there we go, 48 pieces, and then we're going to bring it up to the top, and we're going to place these. And then you can place the center manually or copy it from below. Alright, and there we go. We have a fully enclosed red versus blue arena. But now we're going to start working on the team bases. So starting from the center, which is right here, I'm pretty sure, we are going to head to the edge of the arena, and we are going to one thing you can do is you can make the arena off the ground. You can make your team base off of the ground. So for this, I'm going to make mine 2 blocks up from the ground. And then from there, you can place a platform for the team to spawn on. One thing that you always need to be sure of whenever you are building a team base is never, ever make it so there's only one exit, and never, ever leave the spawns exposed, because then people can spawn camp. So we're going to grab some spawn pads from the player spawn pad, and we are going to place these so that the triangle is facing outwards towards this way, and you are going to want to set the settings as follows. Enable during phase all team. For red, I'm going to use team 1. Allowed class any. Priority group none. Use sound start no. Visible during games no. And that is all you're going to want to do. And next, we're going to place 2 of these on the tile as like this. Copy the tile and 2 spawn pads and paste them like this so it's easier. You don't need this many spawn pads, but I'm just doing this for demonstration purposes. Now, if this is not enough room for this is a ridiculous amount of spawn pads, but if this is not enough room, you can always expand your team base outwards. But for this, we're going to use an upstairs to help deal with that. Alright, so I'm going to expand out the team base a little bit. I think that 2 tiles is a little too short for this. We're going to make it 4 tiles, which gives us a ton more room for our team base. From here, what we can do is we can grab some ramps from the red gallery, and we're going to grab the second ramp, place it down on, we can place it down on either side like this, and then we can place a boost, speed boost on this ramp set to high so players can launch themselves out of the base. You can have glider redeploy on if you want. And then we're also going to wall this off so that players cannot get spawn killed. We're just trying to make sure that there are as many exits as possible without it being too many, so that players cannot just sit over here and camp. I noticed that these are facing the wrong way. Next up, grab the team, settings, and inventory device. Go outside of your map and place this down. set the settings as I do. So this is going to be red, team name red, or you can set it to whatever you want, but this is for red. So team 1, team color, set this to red, and then from there, what you need to do is go into your weapons and give them the starter weapon kit that you want them to have. If you plan on having more weapons to purchase, then make these weapons not as amazing, but I typically recommend blue tack, blue pump, and blue AR at the very least. If you want, you can start them off with a sniper if you feel that fits for the map. SMG if you want it, and an AR. With Chapter 3, you can use the new Chapter 3 weapons if you feel like it. Alright. Now you can also do this for Team 2 if you also want. Blue. And then we can make the team color blue. And then from there we should give the same exact weapons, because we don't want any team to have an apparent advantage in this. Don't be like me and place these on non-player built structures. So grab this, and you should be placing the team settings inventory on non-player built structures. We're going to explain why later. That was a mistake of mine, so don't do that. Inside of this very basic team base, you can grab some item spawners. If you want the players to also be able to pick up the starter weapons, like replacements or extras, grab an item spawner. This device right here. You can place it down towards the center of your base. I just want to point out how ridiculous this base is. You don't need this many spawn pads, and you definitely don't need a base this big, but I'm just doing this for demonstration purposes. Alright, items respawn on. Random spawns off. Base visible during game, no. Time before first spawn, instant. Time between spawns, instant. And then scroll down, and that is all you're going to want. And then copy this for all of your base items that you want the players to have. In this map we have 4 of them. So next up, we are going to make vending machines for purchasable items inside of your map. So here we have a vending machine, and we're going to set settings. Now you're going to want to set the first item resource type to gold. Cost of the first item is up to you depending on what the item is and how much gold you get for kill. We're going to set that up right after this. And as for anything else, I'm pretty sure that's it. If you have like a really expensive item, you can add an interaction time. And then we're going to grab a weapon. For this, I'm going to grab a purple pump, and I am going to place it inside of my vending machine. And then we're going to make this one cost, I'm going to say 150 gold. Now if you want to give the players gold after elimination, there are 2 different ways. The first way is using an elimination manager. In the devices tab, you can grab this device, and so set this enabled game start, not visible. Just drop all the items. Valid and self-elimination, no. Target type players only. Toss items, no. Random drop off, drop chance 100%. Activating team any. Affects team all. Well, just how it's set right now. And that should be all you need. One thing you can do is, instead of just using the elimination manager and having them drop, because if you do this, we'll grab some gold real quickly. We're going to make the players drop. I'm going to say the player is going to drop 10 gold to kill in this. It is up to you totally on what you want the elimination drops to be. and we're going to show you what that is like in game. Alright, this is what this looks like. The player will drop gold right in front of them. I'll show you how you can set it so the players don't drop the gold and instead they're directly in your inventory. To make it so that you get the gold directly into your inventory, head to your elimination manager and hit reset all. Now, if I just replace this, it'll reset all the settings to the default values. All you need to do for this is set the visibility to off and head down to on elimination, transmit on, and you can set that to channel 1. Now grab an item granter. It's this thing right here. Place it down. This is the device that you're going to put your gold into. So I'm going to grab some gold and we're going to put the same exact amount, 10 gold. Enabled on game start, yes. Receiving players, triggering players. On grant action, keep all. Grant all items. Grant condition always. And then we're gonna scroll down to grant behavior wrap. I don't think that matters, but and grant item when receiving from channel 1. So now once a player gets eliminated, it'll trigger on channel 1 and it will give the player 10 gold. So I'll show you what that is like in game. Alright. So I still have the settings from the old one, so the gold drops as well, but we have 10 gold now granted to the player. There still is gold in this machine, so if you still have gold in here, what you need to do is head into your settings and hit clear items. It'll clear out the gold in the elimination manager and make it so only the gold spawns directly into your inventory. Now that you know how to set up a vending machine, you can copy this as many times as you want to make as many items as you want. Next up, what we're going to do is we are going to be setting up a vault. So if you want players to be able to pay coins to unlock an item or unlock a power-up or unlock whatever, I will be showing you how you can set this up in the map. Step 1 to this is actually making the vault itself or whatever you're actually using. So if you want to make a vault, head over to the shark gallery, the shark prop gallery to be specific. You can scroll down and all your vault props are right here. I recommend just using the close the vault because that makes things simpler. You can place this as close to the wall as you want because you're going to get teleported somewhere else. And then you can add some text using a billboard. Make sure, alright, we have a billboard right here. We're going to set our grid snap to 32. You can use the dot to line the dot at the bottom of the lineup. And we're going to set this to, like, that's probably not the price you want to set it to, but I'm just showing you what you can do. Set the outline to light so that people can see it. I see that this gets cut off, so just get rid of it. Alright, that looks so depressing. So one thing you can do is you can increase the size when you actually move it over one because it wasn't centered. Increase the size of this so that people can see it more easily. And then we're going to grab a conditional button. This thing allows you to actually put an item behind the toll. If you want to use the like thing that's used in Battle Royale for the vaults, just head back to Shark Prop Gallery and it should be in here. Ah yes, there it is. Just grab that. You can place this on the ground. You can resize it if you want to make it a little larger. Oh, backwards. And you can place your conditional button on it. It fits perfectly, basically. Or you can resize it if you want to. We're gonna head in here, activating team. So, if this is inside of a team base, you're only gonna want the team that's in the team's base to be able to activate this. So you're gonna want, for this one, I'm gonna set this to team 1 because team 1 is red team, and I only want red team activating this. And then we're gonna head down to color. You can change this to whatever you want. Interact time. I recommend setting this so not instant, so that it has more impact when a player actually like decides to interact with this. Interaction text can be whatever you want, like by damage upgrade And missing item text can also be whatever you have. Something like this works perfectly. Display main item icon for this, we're going to use a locked. And we're going to actually grab the item we're using, which is gold. So grab your gold and drop 250 of it. Right now it says 1, but what we can do down here is we can head over to key items required. You can either just manually set this up to what you want, but I recommend just setting to use stack size because it's easier. So now it's 250. We're gonna scroll down even more and head over to when activated transmit on channel 2. And so now we're going to grab a teleporter and we're going to continue the map. Actually, you know what? We have free space down here, so let's use it. So I'm going to be using the space under player base for this. If not, construct your own little room for this to be. And if you're going to have the player actually get teleported, do what I'm doing right now. So teleporter group, set both these to none. Set the team to all because it doesn't really matter because we've already gated it. Teleporter rift visible, no, but you can make it so it plays visual instead. Alright, next up, when teleported to when receiving, okay. Teleport to when receiving from channel 2. And now we have this little room where we can add whatever upgrades we want. I'm going to be showing you how to actually add a damage upgrade right now. And one thing you can also do is you can gatekeep mythics in here. If you want this to be like something else, where like another currency, like maybe currency spawns in the middle every once in a while, you can do that too. It's up to you what you want this gatekeep to be. But you can gatekeep mythics in here, or they get teleported into this room with a damage multiplier. So this one, the reason I'm teleporting it into a room is because we're gonna have a damage amplifier, and then we're also going to have a vending machine with a few items that you can buy in it, like a few exclusive items, if you like to call so. So we're going to place a damage amplifier right here, and we're going to set the damage multiplier to something reasonable. Don't do 4 times, that is stupid. Effect duration, set that to infinite. Set pickup radius to on touch. Time to respawn. Insets. Spawn a minigame start, yes. No ambient audio. Pickup audio, sure. Apply to the player. And then, yeah. Inside of the vending machine, we can put exclusive items, or we can just grab a mythic weapon and put it in there. Who knows? Maybe you're feeling generous, you just want to give out a free assault rifle. Like, look at that. There you go. Now you got a free AR in there. And that's how you can set up one of these rooms. If you don't want to actually have a room, and instead you just want to give the player directly a damage amplifier just from pressing the button, what we can do is we can set the settings as follows. So head back into your damage amplifier and set the pickup radius. Wait, no. Set the pickup when received from. Set that to channel 2, which is the channel that the button is on. So when the player will press the button, they will get the power up instantly. Now to exit this room, you can have the target group be like group A, for example, and we just bring a teleporter up here with group A. Reset its settings and just set the teleporter group to group A and set this to none. Teleporter rift visible, no. And that's about all you need to do. And now the players will have an exit. But you can also, what you can also do is, I don't know if you, another option is a button. a button also would work, and it's probably actually a safer option so players don't accidentally teleport themselves out of the room when they didn't want to. We're going to resize a button here. I'm resizing it to max just for showcase. You do not have to resize it this big. I just want players to know that the button's there. You can add text on top to say what it does, or you can just head here and you can just put text saying what it does. So teleport back in this example. Visible during game, yes for this, unless if you have like a way to mark it. You set when interacted with transmit on channel 3. And interact time to 1 second just so players don't accidentally press it. And then head up here and set this one to teleport to and see from channel 3. And now we have a button hooked up to there so players don't accidentally teleport themselves out. And if you have that, just set teleport group to none. There you go. Now you have a upgrade locked behind an item. If you want the player to get a class from this, from depositing 250 gold, what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to grab both class devices, the class selector and the class designer. Place both of them out of bounds. We're going to first start off with the class designer. Don't give the class a name, class identifier. For this one, we're going to use 1. And then what you're going to do is you're going to set the stats up to what you want them to be for this upgrade. So if you want like a health and shield upgrade, you set 125 health, 125 shield. A movement multiplier if you want them to move a little bit faster. Instant reload. Basically, there's infinite options here. Just don't go too crazy because this is not a cheat button. I do have a tutorial on a cheat button, but that's not what this is. And then next up, we have the class selector. Class to switch to, set the same class as the other one. Time to switch, instant. Restore health and shields, yes. The size of the volume doesn't matter, but I'd recommend setting it really low. And then we just set our visibility off, activation audio off, and zone audio off, definitely. And there we go. Also make sure in the class, not in the class designer, the class selector, you take the channel, which in this case is channel 2, so change player to class when receiving from channel 2. You can also switch teams using this thing, but I don't recommend having a team switcher for red versus blue, or else things will get a little unbalanced, and that's why I don't recommend that. Next up, we're going to make a damage volume that will stop the enemy team from entering your base. So let's start by grabbing a damage volume plate, because the plates are easier to work with. Now I can place this in the center, set the width, I'm pretty sure the width should be it, yep, set the width to 100, and set the height to 100. Elimination style, eliminate, yep, elimination, that's correct. And then we're going to head down here, damage, that doesn't matter. Scroll down to where it says selected team, team 2, only selected. So this will make it so that the other team is the only person that didn't get affected by this barrier and this damage zone. So now, if team 2 tries to get close, they'll get killed. I do recommend placing this one tile back though, because I placed this in the middle of the arena, and so unsuspecting players can just get killed right here. You don't want that, so place it actually inside the base. Now, you might realize that this base is not very good against protecting against spawn peaks, so I'm going to try to fix that right now. So firstly, we're going to add a roof. If you want to, you can make this a tile up more so that like it doesn't feel so cramped in here, but for this, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to place a roof. So placing a roof can really help out with making sure that teams can't just crank 90s and like get above the base and just shoot players. You don't want that, so doing that can help out a lot. This base looks so ugly, but this is a tutorial and I'm just showing you this. Remember, since we have the barrier here, the other team can't just camp up here, and that's what we want. Next, we need to make more exits for this base. So We also do not want to expose any spawn points to harm's way. So one way we can make exits in this is by making little drop down chutes with a boost panel in them. So let me grab boost. Set the impulse to high. Mirror on the other side. Some other maps do like to use vents, and if you want to use vents, the best place to get them is from either the shark prop gallery, in which there is a few vents over here, or you can get it from the yacht prop gallery, which has a few more vents. Players do like to put vents in their maps because it can add another layer of strategy. But my map is so big that I don't recommend doing it if you have a huge map. And my map is really big, so I'm not going to do it. Next up, we're going to be building a build reset thing, where the builds will all get destroyed every once in a while. We're going to start by grabbing the timed objective device. Placing it down, we will start when round starts. Yes, the time is going to be up to you, but I would say 15 to 20 minutes is around a good time. We don't want to label because we're not going to be actually having it visible on the HUD. We do not want an urgency mode, but we won't worry about that because we are going to disable. Just scroll all the way down. We want to turn activation sound off. We want audio effects off. We want deactivation sound off, completion sound off, yada yada. We want timer sound off. And then we're going to make it so that it starts on channel 5. We're going to make it so that when completed, it transmits on channel 5. And then from there, we're going to grab an explosive device. Head to the center of the map. We're going to have to place a ton of these. But set the health to indestructible. Display damage numbers off. Blast radius, set that to the highest it can go. Player damage, set that to none. Structure damage, the highest it can go. Damage indestructible buildings, no. Knockback off. Play audio VFX, no. Visible during game, no. Collision during games, off. Play audio, no. Explode when receiving from channel 5 and reset when receiving from channel 5. And then from there, all you gotta do is center it with the tile, yoink the floor, and then just start placing these. You need to spam these a lot. You're gonna need a lot of these. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to make a grid of them like this, because you're going to need a lot of explosive devices. And now, as you see, I have too many receivers for 4 of them, it seems. So we're going to head over to see which one of these have the too many receivers. Okay. Whenever you have too many receivers, what you're going to need to do is head over to the explode receiving from, set that to 1 channel higher, and do the same for reset when receiving from. Do that for all of these ones that don't have, that got their channels removed because there was too many receivers. And basically, we are going to need, alright, that'll work for now. All you're going to want to do is copy the timer and scroll down all the way down to when completed on, transmit. When completed, transmit on, set that up, and do the same for start when receiving from. That's all you have to do. And now, every single one of these explosive devices should work. You should basically have like a grid of explosive devices at this point around the map. You just want to make sure that all builds get destroyed. It is a pain in the butt to do this, but it should hopefully work. And another thing that you might want to add is, for example, you're going to also might want to add a HUD message device. Here it is. Grab it and say resetted builds or something like that. You just make sure the players know that the builds have gotten reset. And then all we have to do is make it so it shows on channel 5. And then another thing you can also do is sound. We can grab a speaker and we can place that down too if you want to. You can add a like little sound whenever the builds get destructed. Whenever all of the builds get destroyed. Don't make it too like random. Don't make it like a jump. You just want it to be just so the players know. You don't need to make the volume super loud or anything. But just play at location. It doesn't matter. The instigator is not going to be there. So, and then all you have to do is activate when receiving from channel 5, and then you can place this if you want to. Place it under the map in the center. And then now you have a sound whenever the explosives get triggered. I almost forgot. Lastly, we're going to be right before we talk about settings. Let's get into the save points. Now, some people do want save points in their red versus blue map. If you're going to publish it, it's kind of useful. If you are not publishing it, save points are completely useless because once you leave the game, leave creative, it'll reset all the data inside of the save point. But what you'd want to do is auto save yes, and the auto load on the initial spawn. Save inventory, resources, gold. Do not save checkpoint or player location or the team. Save their class. Do not let the player. If you want to, you can save eliminations, or you can let it be like per session, so that like the points don't pile up, like scoring eliminations. But yeah. Then next up, you can save their class. Don't let the player clear their data, or you can if you want. It's up to you. And then from there, you don't need to do much else unless if you want to attach a channel, like for example, like load player on channel 6, and then you head down to a spawn pad and you set it so that on one player spawn transmit on channel 6. That is up to you though. It is time to set settings. Alright, voice chat, most likely all. Max players is up to you, but I recommend 16 because with 50 it gets a little crazy. Teams, 2. The team size should be alright. So the team size should be dynamic. Default class identifier should be none. And I'm just gonna scroll down. Total rounds is up to you. Time limit, set that to none. And then scroll down even more. Join in progress, spawn. While inspecting our teams is up to you. Player collision is also up to you. Allow friendly fire, no, definitely not. And if you have vehicles in your map, turn these both off. Now into the settings. Now, time of day and all of that is up to you, but I do not recommend using a filter. Starting health, 100% health. Max health, 100 health. Starting shields, 100% shields. Infinite ammo is up to you, but I do recommend on because this is a red versus blue map. Infinite consumables, though, I do recommend you have off, unless your consumables aren't that bad. But you don't want players spamming. You don't want players spamming grenades and clingers everywhere. Infinite resources on. And then allowed. And then basically all these can be the same. Building can destroy environment. No. Environment damage, player built only. And then weapon destruction, 100%. Pickaxe destruction, default. PvP pickaxe damage is up to you, on or off. It depends on what you want. Down but not out is definitely up to you. So classic is just the OG DBNO, while improved, it makes the characters move faster and you can interact with things and drop items. It's up to you if you want DBNO in the first place, because it does slow down the pace of gameplay, as when you die, you have to wait. And then squad multi-interaction is also up to you. If you have DBNO on, you can make it so that everyone can like revive the same player really quickly. Eliminated players' items, keep. Allow item drop, yes. Allow item pickup, yes. And scroll down. Respawn time, set this to the lowest it can go, unless you want to penalize dying like crazy, but it can slow down the pace of gameplay, because this is a fast-paced map, I'm assuming. Spawn immunity time should just be default. Fall damage off, gravity normal. Jump fatigue on, unless you don't want it on, but I recommend having jump fatigue on so players can't just crank. Sliding is definitely up to you. I'm going to put it on for now. Glider redeploy on. Player flight off, yeah. And then health granted on elimination. If you want Siphon by default, you can set this to 50, or you can set it to full, which would be 200. It is up to you. Wood, stone, metal does not matter, and you can do gold granted right here, but with the elimination device that I showed earlier, you do have a little bit more control over it. So that's why I recommend you do this, and it also means that you can make it drop other items at the same time. So if you have like a material or something, that's why I recommended this way. The other way is technically easier, but the way I showed you allows for more expansion later on. And then show gold resource count on. And then we're going to scroll down. Allow manual respawning is up to you. And then you can show, you don't have to show these resource counts because you have infinite materials. It is totally up to you if you want to show that. And player elimination audio is on. Well, it doesn't matter for these things right here because fire damage isn't even in creative yet, so it doesn't even matter. In the UI, this stuff does not matter up here. The game winner doesn't really matter. You can display things if you want. Round winner also doesn't matter. HUD info type can be, if you want it to be, it can be like score. So you can make it so that back here you can have elimination score. You can make it so you earn 1 point on elimination, and then what you can do is from there you can have show your score, so you can see who has the most eliminations. You can use team score, scoreboard win condition, eliminations, probably. And then you can have tiebreakers, which will just show on the scoreboard whenever you see things, so that people can like see what you've done. So map screen display, I recommend scoreboard because it's a red versus blue. There's not much interesting on the map. Island code watermark is up to you if you even have a code. Endgame callout, and then you can put custom callouts if you want. Hide elimination feed or party eliminations is up to you. And then from there you can change your map name, description, add 4 tags if you're publishing, and I'm pretty sure there is a red versus blue tag. I don't actually know that, so let me look. No, I don't think there is, but there are definitely tags that you can find for this. So like competitive or free for all, even though this isn't necessarily a free for all. This is just like, oh look at that, just for fun. But this isn't like that type of map. PvP definitely. And then that is basically what you can do. You can do like teams or training, or like, it's up to you. And then permissions, it's just permissions. And I hope that a lot of this has helped. This is just the basics to a red versus blue map. There are definitely more things you can do, like leveling up. And I'm going to actually need, if I want to work on leveling up, if I'm going to want to work on making like a level up tutorial and things like that, I am going to need to do a little bit more testing in a testing world or something like that, because I don't even fully understand it, and I understand tech very well. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this tutorial. Signal remotes, if you want to add signal remotes as the thing you can buy, you can also do signal remotes, and signal remotes are pretty cool. So all that is up to you. And one thing I also do want to say is, if you are making a red versus blue map, don't just leave this empty. You can add things like watchtowers, or just add different like high ground spots. Just go crazy. Make sure this arena isn't boring to play on, but also make sure the players have ample room to build. That is it for this tutorial. I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and I will see you guys all next time. Peace out.